How's it going, people? I'm Zephyros, and welcome back to my channel. Today's going to be a video hero spotlight on Draelyn. I've seen loads of people kind of asking the question about whether she's good, whether she's worth kind of pulling for. So I'm going to give you my opinion on it and kind of run you through her skill set and whether I think it is worth going for her. So let's get into it. So when it comes to kind of looking at Draelyn and whether she's worth getting, it's important to note with Draelyn, she has a niche. What makes her actually quite good and quite useful is that she's able to plug a gap that very few other heroes can plug, because she's a tank who heals. So she can actually do two roles in one, which is actually crazy useful. The only other hero up until now who's been able to kind of do that is Constance. But the problem with Constance is that yes, she's classed as a tank, but the problem is the moment she has a block occupied, so the moment she's actually blocking a unit, she just stops healing. So it's kind of unless you've got her, and then once she's in ultimate, again, she just stops healing as well. So it's just like it's not she's not able to fill that role of healer on her own. You always need someone else with her, so it's not the best. Whereas with Draelyn still heals. Even if she's blocking, she still heals. And she actually does a decent job as well. Is she the best healer around? No, she's not. But is she able to keep your team running without another healer? Yeah, she is actually. And I'm actually going to put a video out of me using her because I've been using her in level 4 Malric's Hall of Illusions. So level 4 red trials, I've been using her and clearing them. She's really, really useful because she just uses essentially lets you where you would have put a healer and a tank, she just means you can roll it all into one and have an extra gap to kind of based on what the different restrictions are, you can modify your team. Makes it much easier with her. So let's get into her base stats first then. So mine, I've obviously fully leveled it up and base HP 25k. So decent. Nothing kind of special if you kind of compare her to a Brokir, for example. Obviously, Brokir much closer to 30k. But it's good enough. She is tanky enough that it's not easy to kill her, right? All of you don't need to worry about her attack because her damage actually scales off of her HP. So attack is basically a dead stat for her. Base 3.2k, decent defense, and then everything else is just pretty standard, right? Some parts of her kit are designed to kind of be damage based. I personally won't ever use her for damage. The way I look at it when it comes to tanks is I'm putting a tank for a reason. I don't care about my tanks doing damage. I just want them to be able to survive and let my actual DPS units do the damage I need, right? So I personally won't. You can see here, I've built no damage in there whatsoever. I haven't even built healing stats in. I think she does. I literally use this build in Malric Hall of Illusion Mythic 4 trials, right? And I don't put any healing effect, and she still heals well enough. So I just make her as tanky as possible. That's it. That's all I care about, right? So HP with defense, HP defense, HP defense, and obviously where I can, I get rage regen, attack speed in there. HP defense, attack speed, HP defense, attack speed, right? So really easy to build, really straightforward to build as well. You'll want her above 100k HP. Obviously, if you can push 8k plus defense as well, that's great. And then any attack speed rage regen you can get in as well, just to get her ulting more as well. So let's go into her skills and kind of break her down a bit more. So let's look at a talent first. So damage scales off of HP, like I said earlier. Applies AoE damage reduction. This is massive. There are so many areas of the game now where the bosses do big AoE damage, right? She just takes 30% off. Amazing. So heroes like your Aelin, your Fercy, your Narissa that do the AoE damage, or they reduce your damage taken, she can actually join in with that now. She can add to that, which is super useful, especially in places like Abyss 1, where you can actually find good use with her. So yeah, she does that as a blanket for her range. Now it's important to note, right? Her A1 awakening is actually kind of important, right? Because if you look at her range, it's kind of like this Dolores, Constance, Dao base range. But the moment you actually get her A1, it extends her range, similar to how Dao range extends. And so it fills out these gaps, right? So you can actually hit a lot more units. And so that means that her protection, where she's doing that AoE damage reduction, is hitting more units. You can fit it in better. So kind of important. So that's why I've actually pulled it to A1, right? So now, when allies in range take damage, it converts to her Draconic Vigor. So basically, anytime anybody in within her range is taking a hit, every 10 hits that her or her allies are getting, she's applying one Draconic Vigor up to 5 times. So after 50 hits, she's got full stacks, right? What the Draconic Vigor does is if she ever takes fatal damage, so she gets killed basically, she will use up Draconic Vigor stack and restore health, right? And she can do that once every 60 seconds, right? So she's got a minute cooldown and then she will do it again, right? So it's basically like an instant revive. And obviously, if you've got full stacks, it's just 100% HP back again. So she's just restoring 107k in my build. So really, really solid there as a talent and passive skill. Um, on her basic, she's basically just doing HP based heal. So again, you just build a read tank. You don't need to worry about attack, and she's just going to keep healing one at a time, right? Um, and then her next passive is when she's casting her ultimate, she's also doing another damage reduction where on the final damage taken, so this is like AoE damage, right? This is just blanket AoE. But this on top, when she's in her ultimate, she is just reducing another 30%. So crazy damage reduction. She's really, really good for limiting the damage you take in those like high damage instances, right? So really, really useful. So Gear A 2, she will have really good viability as well, like really good for the Golem Shriek and things like that. I haven't actually tested her there, but I have no doubt that she will have a lot of usage there. And then her ultimate. So again, consumes all her Draconic Vigor, heals herself and allies in range 1 time. So you can wait till you've taken a big hit, use that, and she's just going to basically heal you right back up again, right? And then the more stacks she has, the higher the healing multiplier. Um, and again, if you when you need survivability, when you've got like a big hit coming, like a Golem Shriek, for example, in Gear Raid 2, any excess healing she does, she chucks that into a massive shield. So really, really, really useful for survivability as a unit. Her awakenings now. So as I was saying earlier, sorry, pardon me. Her awakening 1 increases her range, same as how Dao range gets extended. And she also does a damage increase. This is massive, right? Just 25% damage. So when you're in, for example, Malric's Hall of Illusions, and you're doing these big trials where you've got the bosses and you need to just try and kill them as quickly as possible, she's just chucking on 25% onto all your DPS units. They're just hitting 25% harder. So it's so good, her A1. A2, all damage reductions, just 8% reduction. Again, really useful, but is it a necessity? I don't think it is. If you get it, great. But I don't think it's like one of those must-haves. A3, when you're casting ultimate with 5 stacks of Draconic Vigor, permanently increases her HP, can trigger up to, so you can get 30% increase after 3 ults in her HP, which is solid. It makes her just that much harder to kill. So again, a good awakening. Not necessary, but it's still a very good awakening. Awaken 4, just a bit of extra base HP. Can't complain with that. And then Awaken 5, when basic attacks hit enemies, the healing multiplier for the healing allies no longer decreases. Each basic attack restores 1%. So this is just getting her cycling through, healing better. Um, Decent A5, but again, not needed. I just think as long as you have her A1, you're getting the biggest boost. This is the biggest boost for her, her A1, in terms of what she brings to the team. So yeah, that's her awakenings. In terms of artifact, I run her in Bastion Ring just because I use her in Hall of Illusions. I just want her blocking as many units as possible. But if you are building her as a damage dealer, not that I ever will, but if you are, then you could use her in a Cadaver Dagger, right? It's just going to increase her max HP, increase her damage, so not a bad option either. But personally, I just think Bastion Ring in your tanks is the way to go. Um, so yeah, that is Draelyn. I think she's actually very good hero. I think she is worth pulling for. There are rumors of some good upcoming banners, um, but do I think they're worth saving for? I personally think that Draelyn currently has a good niche. So I think anytime a hero has a particular niche that they plug, um, it's worth having them on your account because you never know when content is going to come out that requires this. Um, I, I I was actually with Malric's calls. There were certain level 4 keystones that I just found really jarring until Draelyn, and Draelyn actually made them a bit easier to clear. So now it's just a you've just got one extra space to put an extra DPS unit, which wherever you need it, whether it's at the top or the bottom. So yeah, I personally would. If you've got the shards to spare, I would summon for her like I did. I burnt 52 divines and 200 blues, so it wasn't the best rates for me. But I did manage to get the A1 in the end. So yeah, I'm gonna, like I said earlier, I'm gonna put a video out showing where I use her in the Halls of Illusion, and just so you guys can get an idea of where her usage lies. All right, but until that video, I'll catch you guys soon. Stay blessed.